Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective with John Tran as always.
What's going on?
Texas Longhorns, we get the job done. We do. I'm so happy we were wrong. It's good to be wrong. It's good to have your team surprise you, your team to step up. Adverse situation today. Many times throughout this game, they come through and come up with a potentially program-changing victory against the TCU Horned Frogs.
That 31 to 16. Owned us too.
Owned us. 4 straight losses to these guys. Over and over again. I mean, we haven't really been competitive against them. Mm-hmm. Gary Patterson, as we all know, we'll talk about him later. But overall, John, just your impressions after the game. I know we're just like, we don't even know what to do with ourselves right now.
It's a shocking win, in my opinion. But, you know, I also haven't gone back and watched the game again.
Sure.
And gotten to review everything, all the mistakes. I'm just very happy that we came to play on both sides of the ball. It's the things that we said, the keys to us actually pulling off the upset. They kind of did it. I mean, they limited Turpin, they owned the line of scrimmage, and they had a semi-fast start too as well. So, I mean, is it shocking? A little bit, yes, because I didn't.
I think the final score is shocking. Mm-hmm. I think TCU tapping out.
Yes, they did.
Gary Patterson tapped out. That's shocking.
Didn't understand that point.
I don't think us winning this football game today at home, just based on some things we saw, both of us did think we would be competitive and close, which we had not been in the past.
Right.
But I think when you see 31-16. When you see that TCU only had 3 points in the second half, I think that's shocking, and I think it's a good thing. I think it shows the growth of this football team. We have to give it. We've been very hard, and rightfully so, on Tom Herman and this coaching staff. I want to give them some. I want to show them some love and give them some credit. They made some mistakes today in this game, and they did some things I didn't necessarily agree with, but the one thing they've done is they've shored up a lot of the things that were wrong in week 1, whether it was the lack of push on the defensive line, blitzing from improper angles, the offensive line not necessarily getting a push. They've improved the physicality, the mentality of guys. Guys are playing faster. Guys are being instinctive. And that leads me to the obvious MVP of this game, Caden Stearns. Mm-hmm. Elite instincts. Always, there's the thing, you know, Deshaun Elliott was a Thorpe finalist because just off of being in the right place at the right time. To me, Caden Stearns is almost taking that to another level.
No, he's not being at the right place at the right time. He's making himself at the right place at the right time. There's a difference. You pointed it out on his first interception, is that he came from across the field. He shaded over, read it perfectly, and made a play on
the play that Turpin was throwing the trick pass.
Yeah, both feet in bounds for that interception. You look at it. He's not a junior or a senior. He's a true freshman. You know, 6 months ago he was going to senior prom. I mean, and now he's making big plays against a legit top 25 team.
Both of his interceptions were high level picks. Mm-hmm. So he has the first one where he comes across the entire field, covers it, takes a terrific angle, is able to get both feet down, secure the football. The second interception was one of the most impressive picks I've seen probably since John Bonney picked off Baker Mayfield in that game, just off the top of my head. He acts like he's going to play the out route on the inside receiver or the tight end. It was number 88. He shades off of him, knowing that Sean Robinson is a one-read progression thrower right now. Shades off of him, comes back and undercuts the route coming inside and picks the ball off.
Almost makes it for a pick 6 too.
Then almost gets a pick. I mean, that's high level stuff, guys. And we were talking about it. Like, the safeties have thrown their hat in the ring to be the best position group on the team, because them and the wide receiving core. We'll get to the wide receivers in a second in this offense, but Caden Stearns and Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones getting his first career interception. You know, a ball that was a misread by the quarterback, but just securing the football. securing the fumble recovery. And that leads me to, we're going to do some unsung heroes today. Our first one is going to be Marquez Bemidji. Sir, normally a special teams guy, he seemed to get a little bit more snaps. They needed some guys that were a little bit stronger at the point of attack in our 3-3-5. And he did an outstanding job of making a play, coming off a block, swiping. We actually noticed that a lot. Again, that goes to coaching. First guy makes the hit, the second guy comes in to strip. We saw that a lot today. They even had one on the sideline. We stepped out of bounds, but you saw P.J. Locke and Brandon Jones get into a collision where the first guy hits him and the second guy comes through to rip. That's what fans can be proud of when you say, you know what, my team's well coached.
Yep, I agree completely. And I mean, it looked like he got blocked, and it wasn't. He was completely out of the play, but he still reached, and he was reaching for the arm the whole time, and he was the one who stripped. He didn't actually strip it. He got him to where he turned a little bit, and he ran into his own blocker, and that's what caused him to fumble the ball. And
I think we've actually covered all 4 turnovers because we had 4 turnovers today.
It's the difference of the game,
and we don't turn the football over offensively. Signs to coaching and development there. You wanted to make a point about just the defensive line play in general today.
So the defensive line play was the best they've been all season. They didn't really get a push because the push came from the delayed blitzes. Hats off to Orlando for throwing in.
He's A1 with this.
His blitzing packages for a big game like this. But the thing is, at the point of attack, they didn't get pushed back. That's the thing. A running back that had owned us the past 2 years,
Darius Anderson, he had 15
yards rushing. This is after having a game of USC having -5 yards. So the defensive line is actually getting the job done. It's I guess they're going off of the bend don't break mentality, and they're not breaking. They're doing a good job.
And then they're making timely plays on 3rd down. They're making timely plays in the red zone. Overall, guys, I mean, the effort, the fight. We're also starting to see the conditioning level in this program increase because it's now 2 weeks in a row where we've really dominated the second half of the football team, imposed our will, established a 4-minute drill. Let's talk about the offense. The much scrutinized Tim Beck, Tom Herman, who's calling the plays? Should Shane Buechele get a chance at quarterback? We're seeing Sam Ehlinger develop into the leader of this team. Is he perfect? No. Absolutely not. But he's a developing young quarterback in the Big 12 that has weapons. He's starting to realize and understand how to take advantage of those weapons. One of the things we noticed, and it wasn't a big play in the game, but we came out and it was our opening drive, and immediately he didn't know the coverage. And he took a sack.
Yes.
But he didn't force it in there. He didn't turn the ball over, and he ate it. And you know what? I've said, you got to throw the ball. Sometimes you have to understand. You have to just understand when to take your shots. He missed a couple deep throws, but he stuck with it, and then he made 2 terrific throws. One to Colin Johnson, where he lays out the ends. Colin Johnson, I mean, he's
enjoy him while you can. Enjoy him while you can, because if he's making plays like this with a young quarterback, imagine what he'd be doing with a professional quarterback. I wouldn't be shocked if he's gone after this year. Wouldn't be shocked.
He should be. But his skill set.
Back to Sam Ehlinger is one thing that I noticed about him is he figured it out. You were talking about that cloud-based defense throughout the 3rd quarter.
Over and over
he
again.
was just owned with it. Finally. It wasn't just him; it was also the receivers that figured it out too. But LJ found a soft spot.
Let's converse with these guys. How did they figure? Because this cloud thing has been an issue. I've said it videos ago. Iowa State and Campbell and those guys introduced that when Shane Buechele was still quarterback, and it's been a tough cookie to crack. And Gary Patterson was like, you know what? I don't think these guys can figure it out. And one of the things we noticed was on 1st downs, he would rush 4. And then after that, he would drop 7, 8 guys into coverage and rush 3. Basically have the one guy in the middle kind of stand up almost like a intermediate spy so the quarterback can't run. And he's going, you're going to have to beat me from the pocket. And one of the things is it's not just incumbent upon the quarterback to figure it out. The wide receivers started working back to the quarterback. LJ Humphrey got a touchdown on a broken play where he's basically running a little button hook and he keeps his feet moving. He's looking. He's now synced up with the quarterback, and he's like, you know what? Let me work back towards the sideline, and he does what LJ has been doing all season: catches the ball and breaks the tackle. He's one of the best Texas receivers I can remember in a long time when it comes to run after the catch. It's ridiculous. Like every week, it seems like he's broken a tackle and stepped off into the end zone. But they figured there was a play earlier where he sits down in the cloud,
and that's when it seemed like they started.
Figuring it out. Sam got a little bit patient and said, "Okay, there's not a whole lot of pressure. I can take my time." There was a moment where he even wanted to run. I think it may have been the LJ touchdown, where he wanted to take off and his head was down for a second, and I could see that coaching and that instinct kick in where he's like, his head pops back up. Keep your eyes downfield. Somebody work back towards me. Somebody, okay, LJ, I see you. Boom, we got a touchdown. That's what we want to see as fans, getting better week to week. We don't want to see these guys who are so talented keep getting beat by the same coverages every week, because just like with the jet sweep stuff, right? Until you show someone you can stop something, they're going to abuse you with it. I want to talk about, I have another unsung hero, Herman.
That's a perfect segue, was it?
Woo!
Perfect segue.
You have done wonders with this offensive line, my friend. I mean, that is probably the best hire we've made in this offseason, and as much flack as Tom Herman gets for keeping Tim Beck on the staff, he should get the same amount of heat and credit for having Herb Hand in this group. You know, at first we thought, they lose a Zach Shackelford, who's been our center the last couple years. This group has gotten better. They have Derek Kerstetter playing at his proper position at guard. Sam Cosme has been almost a wonderkind as a freshman. You don't hear his name, which is good. You don't hear Calvin Anderson's name, which is good. Another unsung hero, Calvin Anderson, who's been a godsend replacing Connor Williams. But don't you think this group they seem to be finding a groove?
They do, and it's not only that they're owning. Usually TCU is always way more physical than us. They match that physicality. We were getting pushed on the line. I think we had something like 113 yards rushing or something like that. I don't know. But I think that might be the first time we broke the 100-yard mark in the past 3 years against this team. But they're the reason why Ellinger could actually sit in the pocket and find those soft zones for the receiver. They gave him that time. And they've been the bright spot of this whole team this whole year, in my point of view, is that they've been, especially we really haven't had a good product on our offensive line to compare it to. But,
not in a long time.
But this
even
is
before
by far,
even Colt McCoy's group, they've struggled on the offensive line. But just figuring it out, making your adjustments, watching our players grow up and figure it out as football players. We don't always have to rely on the coaches to do everything, because when you get a certain talent level, you can overcome, maybe a coach taking an unnecessary risk or a gamble or what have you. Or a questionable call. And there were some things that went back and forth. There were some calls that we thought we got jobbed on as Texas fans. There was obviously a call that probably was a targeting penalty for TCU's favor. But again, like we said last week with the safety and the punt, you got to play forward, continue to play the next snap.
And to that point too, is that this team has been notorious for beating themselves up when something bad happens. We missed 2 bad field goals.
Yeah,
and we didn't hang our heads on that. We kept playing through it. We should have been tied at halftime. It should have been 13-13 at halftime. We missed another field goal. It should have been 16-16 at that point. And we didn't just lay down and just say, oh, man.
To your point, too, even moving forward out of this game, there's a lot that they can improve on. There's a lot to work on. The coach's tape, it's kind of the best of both worlds for Tom Herman and his staff, because you're able to get off the snide against TCU, get your first win in the Big 12.
Yep.
You can still tell your kids, we're right there in the thick of things for the Big 12 championship. We've now knocked off a guy, one of the big bullies in the room. But hey, we got beat on a lot of double moves today. We got to work on that. We got to work on some of the penalties. We got to work on catching the football on defense. I mean, we even had some more drop picks that we could have had, right? Yep. We still need to work. Hey, people are still going to throw the cloud at us. We still got to work on everybody working back to the football. There's things in the run game. Keontae Ingram's going to get healthier. Mm-hmm. He even with his limited touches and conditioning, you know, obviously not being there because he really hasn't been practicing. You can just tell the talent level with him is he's another one where he's like Caden Stearns, where it's just like you're a baller. Mm-hmm. And Texas is starting to get back to getting those kids. And that might be where Tom Herman really lays his hat in terms of his talent level, is just saying, you know what, I'm going to do like a Jimbo Fisher approach when they had Jameson on board. I'm just have more warriors than you. Mm-hmm. And my kids will be smart and they're well trained, and you have to give Coach McKnight credit. These guys are in tremendous shape. You're seeing the offensive line. There were times where guys were being heavy, but they caught their second win and they continue to push through. To your point, again, I mean, we can't drive that point home enough of them not sinking their heads. That's something that they've been notorious for years now. They have real leadership on this team. It's very exciting, man.
I think you could actually throw in unsung heroes Andrew Beck on that too, because if you saw it, he was the one talking on the sidelines. He was the one doing the dirty work, setting the hard blocks, and he made I think 2 good catches that converted first downs. Which, I mean, leadership builds confidence.
Absolutely. You know, LJ Humphrey has continued. You know, him and Colin Johnson. You know, many of us on this channel complain about not getting the ball to playmakers. They're making a concerted effort. It's not perfect. We don't run the best scheme or anything like that, but we're starting to get the ball in the hands of the right folks. They're making plays. This TCU team, I'm just puzzled as to why Gary Patterson decided to punt. I know Sean Robinson got hurt.
I mean, I'm not arguing it.
I'm not either.
Just from a football perspective, that's
because we really made them tap out.
Yeah, they had 2.5 minutes left with two timeouts, and it was only two possessions.
Like, you're punting, really? To get, you know, even if you want to get the other guy that was the transfer, if you want to get him some more reps, and then they get the ball back, and then they now you want to go 2-minute drill.
They start going no huddle against us.
Yo, Gary was pissed. He had his headset on. He was just.
Yep, I didn't understand it at all.
He's over there yelling at the staff. Like, I loved it. I loved every bit of it, because the way that man looked on the sideline is how we felt at Texas as Texas fans for I don't know how long around here, man. And for him to be pissed off and DKR, and we're coordinating our guys. I don't know how many people got to check out some of the players going on Instagram Live, Colin Johnson, Sam Ellinger. I love that. This is great momentum. You actually pointed that out for recruiting purposes.
Yeah, it's absolutely a recruiting thing. Because the first person I saw when you showed me Colin Johnson's live Instagram was Tom Herman on it. That was the first person I saw on there. It was a big win against a top 25 team, an in-state rival.
In conjunction, Texas A&M gets annihilated by Alabama.
It should be a big time. Hey, recruits are going to start looking over. Oh, Tom Herman may be building what he says he's going to be building, and you know it does take time, and it does take talent too. So I mean, this is a good weekend so far.
We've you know, John and I both try to do the best we can of communicating with you guys. That's why we love the comments. We've had such great dialogue on this channel, and I hope we can continue to have that with you guys. Many of you, you know, have been out on Tom Herman or have been very, very frustrated, and I just encouraged, you know, as even my frustrations. It's like, hey, I don't like that decision, but we got to let them develop. And we have to understand that not only are the players developing, but Tom Herman's still a young coach himself. This staff is still relatively young themselves, and I think they're starting to learn and grow. Again, they didn't have a perfect. He went for it unnecessarily and probably cost the team 7 points. But at the end of the day, the difference is his team is starting to get mature enough to where they can get him out of it, and they're coaching them during the week better. They're conditioning their players better. They're getting more they're mentally tough. And that product is showing on the field.
and
throughout this team.
And these last 2 weeks, man, just these 2 wins. I know USC was an overrated team at that point.
Hey, but USC won on Friday.
Yeah, they did. It's true, but I'm saying we were the better team. That obvious. We were obviously the better product at that point in time. That builds confidence. This builds confidence, and once a team starts learning that, hey, we can play with teams, that's a danger. That's going to be a dangerous.
You
team.
brought up a great point, John, because I think it was about I want to say maybe halfway through the second quarter, where I feel like just watching the game, I felt like they realized that they're just as good, if not better, than TCU.
Yeah, but and
I can feel the belief.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Their body language said it all to me. Is that they look like they
flying around a million miles an hour. Everybody's trying to get a big hit. They're trying to blow people up. I mean, just very impressive. I mean, yeah, they're still going to need to button some things up. Special teams, I would say, was poor today.
Yes,
they didn't have great punts. They missed 2 field goals. We both were a little upset with them continuing to bring the ball out of the end zone, and then they get a penalty. They got, again, perfect coaches tape. Let's get that stuff, because you're going to play the Purple Wizard, as Rob Babers calls them, in Manhattan next week. But here's why I'm excited to go there now.
Exercise demons.
This might be now. We didn't do it against Maryland, but we're learning.
Yes,
and we exercised the USC demon from last year, where we didn't finish. Mm-hmm. We got all the way to fulfilling the goal, and then we screwed it up in double overtime. We exercised that demon at home. Now, it's kind of like, which way do you look at it? Because one could say, and I know some people are going to come on here that are still a little negative or maybe skeptical and say, well, we won 3 straight games at home.
This is our first 3-game win streak in how many years?
Since 2013, I think they said.
Yeah,
But I know people are going to come on here and say, well, yes, we won 3 straight games, but they were home games. And the one game we didn't play at DKR, we laid an egg at FedEx Field. Mm-hmm. Valid. But I'm excited. Just like now, I'm excited how they responded to TCU, how they responded to USC, because they faced some adversity early in that USC game, and they responded and front run the rest of the game. I'm excited to see them exercise demons in Manhattan. Because if I'm Tom Herman, I'm saying, hey, let's go be the first Texas team to go win in Manhattan.
Since the 90s.
Why not?
That's
like
spanning 20 years.
Like Matt Brown didn't do that.
Yeah.
Charlie Strong, like y'all can over here and put your name up there. Let's go to that Kansas State team's not that good. The only way I can see us, and I know we're not getting our predictions and all that. We haven't looked, but the only way I see us laying an egg is if they get sucked into that mystique of us just not playing well there historically. Because there's no reason why they shouldn't go in there, handle their business, continue to execute, continue to get better before the Red River Shootout. And now we are looking at 4-1.
That's the thing that scares me, is the Red River Shootout is the next week. And I don't want them overlooking. We're not good enough yet as a team to overlook a team.
No. But as we continue, these young guys and everybody continues to develop, that's where that consistency and leadership kicks in, where we are now putting out a week-to-week product. We'll talk about Kansas State later this week, guys, but right now, enjoy this win. Enjoy this win in Austin. I'm happy with the product we're seeing. I'm happy with the growth. Improvement across the board. And when you look at the way things in college football are shaking out, you see Old Dominion beating Virginia Tech. Nothing can be taken for granted. We all tried to style point that Tulsa win, and at the end of the day, as Tom Herman says, you have to just celebrate the wins, no matter how you get them. This team we're now 2-0 in this 4-game stretch that everybody kind of highlighted. But but it's a week-to-week season, right? And
it should be that way the rest of the year. Just take it one game at a time. I know it's cliche, but
I don't want to see people. I know we just did it, but this is a big picture channel. Yeah. We can say whatever we want. But I don't want to see people jumping in the comments talking about OU yet.
Yeah.
Mindset, everything has to be getting that win in Manhattan and getting that off, And then Tom Herman can be potentially. Right now, he's now gone from 8-7 to 10-7. Good for him, man. I know. I can see the confidence building in him.
He even had a little smirk on the sideline.
He did
when they punted the ball. He was like, "Oh, all right, they are."
I think he's starting to gain confidence. Like, I can coach in the Big 12. Things haven't come easy for him, and I don't want to be disrespectful towards a guy like Lincoln Riley because to me he's a phenomenal coach himself, and he did great in year one. But he was kind of set up for success.
Yeah, he had better infrastructure,
and absolutely. And Tom Herman, you know, he's had to find his way. Many of the mistakes his own doing, just learning on the fly. Like I said before earlier in this video, he's still a young coach. But I'm very, very proud of this team. Y'all let us know in the comments, you know, some other guys we may have missed, or, you know, just moments that you found yourself in this game where, you know, your outlook on the season now. We're in the hunt for the Big 12 championship, as Tom Herman said after the Maryland loss. That's where I want to end the video, actually. He said after the Maryland loss, I know in my heart this is a better team than last year. And he's starting to look like he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, not only that, he did say that they want to be a good team so bad that they're playing hesitant. And after watching the Maryland game and the Tulsa game, they were playing hesitant. They're flying out. We alluded to at the beginning of the podcast, is that they are reacting. Like, we started off with Caden Stearns reacting, and, you know, it's a breath of fresh air, and I hope they continue doing this.
Absolutely. Y'all hit us up in the comments. I think we're pretty much almost at 1,500 subscribers, which is really quick growth for us because we haven't been doing this very long. We're learning on the fly. We're incorporating ideas. We encourage the feedback, but we are having a blast talking with you guys, getting to know you guys. Longhorn Nation, great win, celebrate it, hook 'em.